Hey there, how are you?
Very good. Very good.
Good.
Sitting
Good to,
here in Sun Prairie, Wisconsin.
yeah, are you guys cold weather there? You guys got snow on the ground already?
No, no, it doesn't snow till really November 5th.
Okay.
No, I'm only kidding. Uh no, it is cold today. It's like 41
Okay.
and we did have frost last night, but it's supposed to go up to 70 next week.
Yeah, I think we're roughly the same latitude, right?
Maybe we're a little north, a little more north, but not a lot.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, but it's nice and cool here today too. It got down into the 30s. I don't think we had frost last night, but anyway, so yeah, good to be with you, Pastor Brandt. You're coming on November 3rd to be our guest preacher, our kind of bringing up the caboose with the guest preachers we've had through this 150th anniversary year at Trinity. So tell us, when were you here at Trinity?
I was at Trinity from 96 to 208
Okay.
for 14 years. And uh, we had some great times. I've had the privilege to be at three wonderful churches in my years, and Trinity was the middle one.
Oh, okay. I was going to say, I hope Trinity was one of those three.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Yeah, good.
And we did some good stuff. When I got there, they still had, oh, I think 230,000 debt on the church, remaining at that point. And and so we paid that off, and then we moved into a building program and paid that off, and then worked on starting a mission in Waterville, but that died and
Mhm.
that didn't pan out. But I did have the privilege of starting two congregations in my life, one in Cedarburg and one here in Sun Prairie in Wanakee.
That's awesome. Was Cedarburg before Toledo?
Yeah, Cedarburg was first. I
Okay.
went there right out of SEM in 1980, and in 1982, I became the senior pastor. They had very low standards, and I met them.
Yeah, there you go. Didn't exceed, did you exceed them too, I'm sure.
Well, I that still remains to be seen,
Yeah, that's awesome. So you
but it
while you
was,
were there, you were able to start a congregation and
yep, that
kind of
was a good thing, and we sold the old building. We built a brand new church there as well, and then did a fund drive for paid it off, and then did a fund drive for the second building program. Both of them were about 3 million each, and that was the point where I left and came to Toledo.
yeah, that's awesome. No, you're very legendary here. I've always heard, well, Pastor Brandt did it like this, and that you're still in the wings of people's minds, and it's most of the time it's for good stuff.
Yeah,
I'll
I
tell
would
you
bet
offline some of the
there'd be a
bad
lot
stuff.
of times that go the other way, though.
Yeah,
It's okay.
yeah. No, that's cool. So, tell me about your family. Your wife Carol. Were all of your children born by the time you started here at Trinity?
Yes, they were. They were
Yeah.
all born in Cedarburg, and when we came there, Joel was in 8th grade, Amy was in 6th grade, and Chris was in high school.
Okay.
And they went through Bowser. Then they all came back this way to Wisconsin and went to the Concordias. They all three went into church work.
That's awesome.
Joel's a pastor, Amy's a teacher and still a teacher in Iowa, and Chris works for Concordia Mequon.
Very cool. And yeah, we had Joel with us. I think it was in July or August. I can't remember. All the months blur together, but
Yep.
yeah, he
Yep.
kind of shared with us a little bit what's going on. So after Trinity here, you moved to Sun Prairie. You were working there now, and from what I understand, you're retired, although your schedule doesn't seem like it.
I am. I retired January 9th of 23. Um, but right away went and helped Joel in his congregation, which was the mission Bethlehem started. They ended up calling him. He was up in northern Wisconsin in a big church, and came down here and was involved in starting the mission, building the church, actually building the building. But it was the mission that we laid the groundwork for. And then he got cancer. And so my plan was, once I retired, I was going to go there and help him.
Mhm.
And he's doing great. The cancer is, they don't want to use the word remission, but his kind of cancer, which is it's not curable, but it's treatable.
Mhm.
And so he is not getting treatments. He's checked every other year, and it's non-Hodgkin's lymphoma with MALT. So it was in his bronchial tubes, it was in his bone marrow, and it was in his spleen. And
Wow.
they have cured the spleen and the bone marrow, and in the bronchial tubes, it shrunk. But with me being there, I think it lightens his load and makes it easier on him. And so I preach every other Sunday for Joel. Basically, I do Bible class for him, and I do liturgy because he has to lead up the music.
Right. Sounds.
And so it's good. Gives me something to do in my old age.
Yeah. It sounds like a full-time retirement job for you.
Well, it could be considered a job if they'd pay me,
Yeah.
but I get paid nothing. And my comment is, I'm worth it.
There you go. That's
Worth
that
nothing.
low expectations, huh? You're still meeting them.
Very low expectations, and I meet them.
Right. That's cool. And you told me you also serve on the board of directors, or you're a vice president in South Wisconsin District. Is
I'm
that
the second vice president for the district. I cover the whole, they call it the West, but it's really 2/3 of the entire district.
okay?
And it's the whole western portion. Basically, 3 parts are Milwaukee, and then all the rest is me.
Okay. Yeah.
And so I've done this for 9 years.
That's awesome. Yeah. So we kind of joke on the Ohio
Me
District
too.
Board of Directors, the vice presidents are heartbeats away, depending on. So you're 2 heartbeats away from the presidency in the South Wisconsin District.
And I have done everything to stay away from that
Yeah.
position. At
Yeah.
one point, when I was elected, I got up on stage when they were going to vote for me, and I said, "Please vote for the other guy." And I said, "I want to be the first 26th ranked vice president. Put me
Yeah.
26. That way, 25 guys have to go before me."
Yeah. Well, blessings on that service there. That's an awesome thing that the Lord's allowing you to do for his church, even with the self-deprecating comments about it. I'm sure you're a blessing there, and that's a laudable thing. So yeah, you did quite a bit when you were here, paying down the mortgage on the sanctuary construction, but also leading the building project for the gymnasium that we have, the office wing, preschool rooms, and I think you mentioned it. You guys paid that debt down pretty quick, right?
Yeah, we paid it off in about 4.5 years.
Yeah.
And so it was good. It was a great time there. Good church, wonderful people. We had the contemporary service in the gym,
Mhm.
and it was good.
Yeah.
Attendance was great. Worship was good. And then that's where the mission start came in. And but um, that, sometimes when you change personnel, everything falls apart, and that's what happened.
Yeah, I kind of heard some of the aftermath report or the after action report from that there was some leadership there, not directly connected to Trinity, but kind of the district was supporting that, and there was some turnover there, and there wasn't a good continuity for that.
Yeah, that pretty well all died after I moved to Wisconsin.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's sad, but every start isn't going to happen.
Hmm.
It's one of those things, and but it's you got to keep trying.
Yeah, no, and it's yeah. I think there's learning and growing through all that process. I've often wondered, in the back of my mind, never said it out loud till now, but if it's worth maybe reconsidering that, because there is still such a population boom going on west of Toledo here, if you can call it a boom in this area, but it's one of the expanding areas of our suburbia demographics here. So yeah, that's what was the kind of the vision for that? Was it because it was a demographic shift taking place?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. It was in Waterville because of um, Swanton, Perrysburg, Maumee, that direction.
Hmm.
And it was on 24 going toward Napoleon in
Yeah.
that gap. And Napoleon was involved with us in this mission start. Pastor Marcis and I kind of headed it up, and we kind of picked something in between.
Hmm.
And then we had the two schools to draw on. And we started services in an old school building in Waterville that
Yeah.
was not being used.
Yeah. Now I heard that there might have been a vision for a hopeful a high school at some point. Was that part of the thought process?
No,
Maybe pipe
not
dream?
really.
Okay.
Yeah, not really.
Yeah.
Because there weren't enough schools there and
Yeah.
enough kids to support.
Right.
So, but the congregation was, a hope, and to go that way, and then, the area did a downturn.
Hmm.
Toledo and the economy, housing, all those things.
Yeah, that was right into because it kind of collapsed right on the heels of the 2008 bubble that kind of burst, and a lot of things became different and difficult in some ways. So
Yeah, we bought our house in '96, um, probably about a mile away from Trinity.
yeah, I've been in
And
it.
pardon?
Yeah, I've been in it. Pastor Carr lived in that
Oh,
house after
yeah.
you guys moved out. Yep.
Yes. And then we sold it 14 years later for less than I paid for it 14 years earlier. And I put a new roof on, new windows in, new kitchen remodel, new bathrooms, all those things.
Yeah.
And but the economy just
Yep.
tanked.
Well, if you would have held on for another 10 years, you would have been able to probably recoup and then some, because we're on the other side of that. But yeah, that's the joy of the fluctuating markets that we're blessed with. So thinking back to your time here at Trinity, aside from the building programs and the church plant and everything, what are some of the fond memories that come to mind for you? Maybe annual events or times of year that just kind of have this glow in your mind, if there are any.
Oh, one of the things that we did, we were teasing a little bit about the Ohio State
Yeah, before we
Buckeye
started.
shirt.
Yeah.
We had border battle parties. What hat is that? I can't quite make it out.
Yeah, it's a national champions hat. So
Is that
last
Ohio
year.
State? Is that Ohio
No,
State?
no, your eyes. You got to put those glasses back on.
Oh man. Yeah, we had border battle parties, and they were out kind of in first what was the cafeteria, the gym, and then it later became the cafeteria. And we set up a huge screen, and we had the Ohio State people bring in chairs and sit on one side, and the Michigan on the other. And those years, Ohio State won all the games.
Maybe that's
And
why we
so,
stopped doing it. I
yeah,
haven't
that's
even heard
probably
about
why.
this.
Those Michigan people were crybaby. No, but we had two of them outside,
Hmm.
and that was the goal, to be outside and tailgate. And people brought grills and their chairs and sat out by their trunk of their car. And then we were set up to watch the game outside. And then later we ended up getting moved inside and watched the games there. But we had a number of them, and they were a lot of fun. It's
Yeah,
just fun to heckle, and you don't care who wins.
right.
At the end, who cares? But at the time, it's just a lot of fun, a
Yeah.
lot of excitement. And the wilderness fishing trips
Hmm.
were another memory, and I'm still doing them here. men's fishing trips, except the men up here have all turned into pansies, because what we did in those days, and we started here, they were canoes. You canoed. Well, now they turned into pansies. We got bass boats and pontoon boats.
Oh yeah. Okay.
So they turned into, and I give them a hard time all the time.
Right. Yeah.
But we
Well,
did about 20, 25 guys. And it's just good times. And I bet you there's a few guys around there that still remember or went on those trips.
oh yeah. I've heard stories about those trips. It's funny. I've never heard about the border battle days, so I'm gonna have to ask around about that. But the fishing trips, I've heard about those, and it sounds like some good stuff there.
When Tim Colmorgan was there, he was the guy that set up the screens for us.
Okay.
And and then, you know, the rest, you know, all we did is we had popcorn. That was
Mhm.
it. But it was just a lot of fun. And the heckling for the game and everything. And then the next day at church, it was like, who cares who won?
Right. Yeah, we're all together in this. That's
Yes.
awesome.
But
So what do you
good.
think? What do you think at this juncture of 150 years? What do you think Trinity should keep in mind as we start our next 150 years?
You know, I think if I would probably coin a phrase, it would be dance with the one who brung you.
Mm.
In other words, stay faithful to what you always have been, and stay faithful to the gospel and sharing it. I have gotten some pictures of the old Trinity,
Mhm.
and I never saw the old wooden building, but I did see, you know, the Vance and Ewing building. And I went down there and talked to the pastor who was there at the time and tried to talk him out of the windows.
Mm.
Uh, and because they had those small panels with stained glass, and I couldn't get those from him. And plus, they weren't in that great a shape.
Yeah.
But I took pictures of them, and then we had somebody that made them for us. And those are the ones that are hanging in the church in
Yeah.
the back that are the tastes from history. They
Okay.
actually are exact duplicates of the ones that are in the old Trinity. And you can still see them in there.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. I did not know that connection. I'm glad you shared that, because yeah, as you go down from the balcony or as you're exiting the sanctuary, you see them
Yep.
hanging above
They're
the
all there. One is, it started as a confirmation class, bought the first one. That's the one that's up high. And then the other ones came later.
Mhm.
And the communion and baptism, and uh, it's just neat. And we redid the floors in the church, pulled all the pews, refinished the pews, and put them all back in. And but that only lasts so long.
Yeah, yeah, we just redid the pews. So it's a constant task maintaining these things that the Lord blesses us with. So yeah, so you were here when I think it was 99 would have been the 125th anniversary. Do you remember
Correct.
anything from that celebration year?
No, we just uh, we just trying to think. I think we just did local, and we might have had somebody from the district. Maybe
Yeah.
the DP came and preached. But 125 isn't as big as 150. 150
Yeah.
is a much greater event, and it's super,
Yeah.
super.
Very cool. Well, anything else you want to share before we jump off? It's good to have you with us. You're preaching for us. The service will be live streamed, and so whoever's watching this online can check out the sermon you preach. If you haven't had a chance to do that yet, it'll be available wherever you're watching this. So
And I will have pictures in the sermon of some of the building program, and some of the old church,
mhm.
the old school. I got to go in there, but that was like almost risking your life
Yeah,
then, because and it's still standing, but it's dilapidated.
yeah,
and I think of what that was like to walk through there and walk into the old church and think of the years of the weddings, the funerals, the confirmations, the Easter and Christmas services, and how that was. And then to move from that old school building uh, that was multiple stories brick, and then come to the uh, first phase of construction,
Right.
where the church services were in the slash gym cafeteria. And when I came, it was still the gym cafeteria, but the church was built,
Right.
and then when we built that, I think we added 28,000 square feet and renovated 8,000, I think is what we did. And that's, what but I have some pictures of the inside as it was being built, and just some interesting times. You talk about one interesting story. We had the bowling ball bandit. I don't know if you ever heard about that.
No.
Helen Keysweater and Shari had their offices right under the canopy, right next to the main doors of the church.
Hmm.
And during the night, we had an alarm system, and evidently a guy busted through the glass of the door with a bowling ball,
Wow.
broke into the church, got into Shari's office and Helen's office. Helen had a little cash box, but she only had, I don't know, 15, 20 bucks. It was postage money for letters is all it was, and some checks. And then the alarms went off, and I came,
Hmm.
and the police came, and but they ended up catching the guy, but he broke into 3 churches down Glendale, all with bowling balls.
Wow. Huh.
Left the bowling ball in each church. It was not my size, so it did no good to me. But it was kind of unique,
Yeah,
and
that
it
is.
was a great Helen Keysweater story. And I'll have to fill you in on the rest of it some other time.
Yeah. No, that's bizarre. I never heard that. I've heard about a couple of incidents over the years.
Is
Such
Gary
as
Heft
that.
still there?
What's the name?
Gary Heft.
No, I haven't met Gary.
He could be dead. He could be gone. Um, but he was the head of properties, and he had an integral part in that story. And you will find it very entertaining. I don't have the time now to convey it, uh, but it is one of Helen Keysweater's sterling moments.
That's awesome. I'll get the rest of the story, and anybody watching, if you want the rest of the story, you let me know. We'll fill you in. But
Or if you could find Gary Heft, he could tell you too.
yeah. So, well, Pastor Brandt, I'm going to let you go here. This is good. I know you got other things on your schedule today, and we're very thankful for your legacy that you've left here, the work that the Lord did through you to bring us to the 150th celebration we're a part of this year, and paving a way for the future generations that God's made us a part of here.
Yeah, Carol and I are looking forward to it. And Trinity was a wonderful church. And
It
God
is.
put us there. And it's kind of interesting because her dad died while we were there. We helped care for her mom, who had Alzheimer's, and moved in and lived with us for 4 years
Wow.
while we were at Trinity. And so, you can see why God put us there at that moment in time.
Right.
And that's what God does.
He's
And just super. And it's a great church. You're at a good place, and just wish them all the best.
all right. Yeah, no, we're very thankful for this. And it is funny how God kind of works things out for people, putting them where they need to be at the right time. So it's not
Yep.
always evident, but looking back sometimes like, oh yeah, that's what's going on.
Yep.
Yep.
Later on, it's a little easier to see it.
Yep, for sure.
And
So,
so, but we had good times. And through my years, I had great associates, um, and it's just eventful. It's
mhm.
just special.
Yep. Very cool. Well, thank you for your time today, Pastor Brandt. We'll look forward to seeing you here in person, and blessings on your travels as you come this way.
Thank you. And we are looking forward to it.
Awesome.
We'll see ya. Bye-bye.
Take care.